son of a bitch. Son of a bitch.
Hit me with the drop kick, Marty Jannetty, Marty Jannetty. No, I hit you with the drop kick, Marty Jannetty. No, I hit you with the drop kick, Marty Jannetty. No, I hit you with that drop, that's Jannetty, Marty Jannetty.
Live, pal.
Goddamn right, it's live, pal. Welcome into the latest edition of Hot Tag or Wrestle Corner, right here. Coming from the studios downtown 1300 East 9th in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm one half of your host. I am Rob.
I'm Clint.
We're going to jump right into it so we can get out of here, catching you up with Windy City Riot, which you couldn't talk about last week's WrestleMania show, or earlier this week's WrestleMania show, I should say. And then the regular shows from this week, news, Mount Rushmore, brother versus brother battles in wrestling. Try to stick to actual brother versus brothers as much as possible, but we do have one set of fake brothers in there. Then we're also going to talk about Dark Side of the Ring, which episode this week was about Gentleman Chris Adams, the Gentleman and the Demon. So let's get into the news.
All right. The biggest news that probably came out has been that there have been some releases within WWE. Before we get into releases, there are no additional releases expected to come. They talk about that these releases were handled different. Basically, they were described as more apologetic and respectful towards talent than the abrupt, all business style of the call that came within the past. And so the final people that have been released, and when you think of them, you be like, makes sense. Jinder Mahal, who basically, I think it's funny that like he put something that said, Mahara, I quit or something like that. Like, no, you got released, bro. I guess you tried to say face. Tried to say face. Face.
Maharaja out.
In this year, which was Veer and Sangha, they can go to AEW and join the one tall dude.
Nope.
Tall dude. What's his name? You know what I'm saying?
We don't need them over there. Let's not do that. That's a bad suggestion.
Oh, okay. I just figured that's because, they all, what's the name, probably.
They can go find out where the Bollywood Boys is or something. Do for them.
Oh, yeah, them too. Xia Li, unfortunately, who we last seen Xia Li, she was feuding with Lyra Valkyria for the NXT Women's title. And Ryan Quinn, who we last seen him, he got squashed in 6 seconds by Braun Breaker.
Guess that tells you what they thought of him.
So, them 5 superstars have been released. There's no additional releases expected at this time. They said the releases basically was like based on them not having nothing to do and how long they've been with the company, essentially. So, all of them have to wait 90 days except for Quinn. So Quinn's the only one that can like go immediately to like another company. Apparently he's making vignettes and everything already. I ain't watched none of them. I'm not going to watch none of them. None of them. So guess you say that's the major news that happened in this week, I guess you could say. I guess the second major thing I guess you could probably say that happened has been Rhea Ripley. We finally have an update on Rhea Ripley. Of course, we all know Rhea Ripley, spoiler, had to vacate her Raw Women's title Monday night because of a shoulder injury. We finally figured out what it is. She has an AC joint injury, which happened in the segment the Monday after Raw where she got to the Brawl and Liv Morgan threw into the wall. It was just a freak accident. Liv had no heat with nobody from WWE. She had no heat from Rhea Ripley. But it's an AC joint. They said that essentially it's going to take her 4 to 6 weeks to regain the mobility and then up to 3 months for her to be back ready to go. So you probably say if she possibly might get her SummerSlam, possibly. So
her versus Liv at SummerSlam,
possibly. So fast recovery for mommy. She is the face of your women's division. And also, another story I'll go into. We go this one per mention. We go with the Undertaker here. He said that WrestleMania 40 provided much needed closure for his career, which is I thought was odd coming from Undertaker. But on his 6 Feet Under podcast, which is a great podcast, by the way, where I forgot who his co-host name is. Michelle McCool be on there sometimes too. He basically said he was struggling with it since he retired, but it gave him closure. It was fun doing this for as long as he had and being involved. It was important how important that storyline was. And when it was over, he was running out the building like, I'm good now. On closure, he said, it's the moment of clarity I had, like, I'm okay now. I'm not saying that I wanted to do something like this in the future, but I don't have that feeling in my chest like I had since I retired. He has come to peace with it, basically. So, like, this basically was saying, like, he don't got that itch to, like, come back. Like he feel like he needs to do something to come back, you know, like some people do. And he basically said that it was difficult to attend events while he retired. He said it was a cool weekend. It was an amazing feeling, but he don't have that pressure no more. It's been difficult the last couple years, especially around Mania, even going to regular PLEs. He said I would leave before it mattered because I get to the point where I needed to be out there. So I was out there, and it was a moment to have a great storyline. It was like I can close this book, essentially. So that's good that when he felt in his mind he got the closure that he needed. So props to him for that one. Another quick one. Couple injury updates. Might as well go into these. Seth Rollins recently underwent knee surgery for a torn meniscus. We all know this happened back when he had his match against Mahal. He hurt his knee. He basically was out for a while there. Came back at Mania. If you watch Mania, you can tell he was in serious pain with his knee. He was like limping. Like when they were doing the celebration with Cody, I think it was Kevin Owens who was basically helping them like out leave the stadium. Sorry about that. Leaving the stadium, and so he would be out 4 to 6 weeks for surgery on the torn meniscus. Then Wes Lee, basically, we all remember Wes Lee had to vacate his title because of back injury. He basically said that he's making great progress. He's uncertain when he'll be firing on all cylinders with his bike, but his mind is strong. Apparently, he went back to doing art. I guess he was doing art before he went to wrestling. He said he haven't done no art in like 2008. And I guess it's kind of like graffiti art, I guess. Like he had like the cardboard and he like doing like graffiti work like that, basically. So I don't know what that art called. I'm assuming that's what it's called, but I might be wrong though. I ain't the biggest artist person, you know, when it comes to that stuff. So a couple injury updates on that end. Get rid of the Seth Rollins story. All right. Couple news. Another quick news story before I let you get into some of yours. Kimberly pre-trial has been postponed until May 22nd. Another situation involving WWE superstars who are having run-ins with laws. So she her scheduled hearing before Highland County Court was continued to May 22nd. Of course, she was arrested on May 11th of last year and charged with DUI, resisting an officer with violence, and battery on a law enforcement officer. She entered a plea of not guilty on all charges. She waived her right for a speedy trial. So any more updates on that? We'll see. At least hers been pushed back. She ain't getting hurt. She ain't pulling Teddy Hart's and getting it revoked and having all these health scares. These health scares. So I'm gonna let you get into a couple of yours real quick.
All right, let's knock some of this shit down because there's so much of it. All right. So, Eric Bischoff weighs in on CM Punk rumors. So, with his thoughts on his Ariel Helwani interview. First of all, Ariel's first class. all his own. He's really good with what he does. And when you watch an interview that sounds like two guys shooting the shit at the bar, you just happen to be overhearing it. And that's a good interview. That's the way it felt. Punk saying Khan's not a boss, quote. Well, I think that's been clear. I mean, look, I'm going to get this out the way. I'm only going to say it once. What I'm going to say other than yup, been talking about that for 3 years. Now, I don't have any perspective on what Tony's like backstage. I got a glimpse. I got a brief glimpse. Almost like a drive-by, right? Which really doesn't tell you anything. But really, so I really don't know what he's like backstage. But if you look at the patterns, connect the dots. Oh, there's a picture pattern of at least everything that we've seen for the last year, 2 years, 3 years, all indicated that Tony's just not a leader. How many times have I said it on the show and upset you and been put in my place? Sometimes appropriately so, but it's just obvious when you see how lack of leadership manifests on a regular basis, end quote. On the backstage environment, AEW, quote, we all know what's going on, or at least we have been told what's going on. There's an impression there that you just know that people it's an impression there that one is just, if you know people, that you know somebody. But you look at it, you say, there's some things that we've seen over the last couple of years. The Punk situation is probably the most obvious. The lack of leadership. I talked about it for 3 weeks. I talked about it in the Strictly Business. Then I get crucified, or he's just an old man. He's bitter because Tony Khan wouldn't give him a job. Are you fucking kidding me? After the CM Punk interview, I'm way more convinced 100% right that I would never want to put myself through that kind of drama, end quote. On whether his thoughts about Punk have changed due to his comments, quote, let me see. First of all, I want to take the tag out of your first question you asked me with your thoughts about Punk and if they have changed. The reason my thoughts hasn't changed is really I don't have any thoughts about Phil Brooks, the person. I don't know him. I don't have any feelings one way or the other. My feelings on him as a character are the same as about him as a character at the time of AEW had not changed. Clearly, now, if you again go back and listen to my comments on when the rumors were floating around that Punk may go back to WWE, I think I was on Strictly Business. I said to Alba, because Alba asked me, how do you think he would do there? I said, I think he'd be fine there because he's not going to be the guy. He's going to be a part of a team, a well-organized team, a well-managed team, a team with secure structure and leadership. That's almost exactly what I said, end quote. I won't get into all this other stuff. It's not important. We got a lot to go here. All right, so that was Uncle Eric's thoughts about his interview. Now, from there, of course, this prompted Tony Khan to go ahead and play the video of the incident and what happened there. Of course, Uncle Eric had thoughts on this. On airing the footage, quote, there's no upside. There's nothing that's going to happen that's positive. You're going to be living in the past from a living incident that isn't a reflection of your horrible leadership and lack of management, Tony. You created that backstage environment by not being a leader, by not having management in place and allowing that kind of thing to go on, because this isn't like the first and only time. It's just, I don't know. The most bizarre thing, I don't know. You know, I've said it before. It's as hard as I can be on AEW. The point is, to point out the lack of storytelling ability or the lack of ability or to even format a television show is just fundamental shit. You know, I talk about those things all the time. In the back of my mind, I'm hoping that eventually somebody's going to go, okay, let's just try what he says. Let's just put a little more emphasis on the story. Let's go buy a book and read about what it takes to build a great story and see if we can do it. Now, I'm hoping that light bulb is going to go off in somebody's head and they're going to go, huh? Maybe we can. Hey, I got an idea. Let's try this, because what we're trying to do here at AEW is not working. On interest in AEW falling. Quote, you're only going to grow your audience, or you can't hold them what you started out with. Then they're leaving in droves. We have Wise Choices and Ant Evans, YouTube expert. This guy built UFC's YouTube channel as well as others. A guy that knows his shit. We talked about where AEW is on YouTube and where it's been over the last 6 months. You know where it's been falling off a fucking cliff. So Dave Meltzer says, wow, you can't just judge the ratings by the company, and it was way more successful than a rating of Reflect, because fewer and fewer people are watching television. No shit, Sherlock. It's been a conversation that's been going on in the television industry for, 12 years or so. It's not news, Dave. You don't have to study anything, Dave. It's right there in front of your fucking face. But what even that if that was an excuse that people wanted to buy into, because when it comes to AEW, a lot of people want to buy into the excuses, spin ridiculous ways of doing math. But even if you want to believe that it's true, or you know the ratings are going to go down because fewer people are watching television. You're like, okay, well, what about YouTube? That's a dying medium, Dave. It's an outlier for some reason. It's not. It's just another indicator that live ticket sales, AEW, is having a hard time selling 3,500 tickets are dynamite. I mean, come on. It's simply impossible for them to think the ways that they've been doing things more incorrectly or miss the mark any more than they already have. But they keep coming up with shit like, I don't know, let's show footage from security cameras at Wembley that happened, what, it was 6 months ago? How long ago was that? Who cares? It's history. And all it's going to do is make you look bad. The question is, how bad is it going to make you look and how many different ways? It's just bizarre to me. End of Uncle Eric for the day.
Alrighty.
All right, so
I just give him no reaction because it's always going to be the same thing with him. That's why I was like, it is what it is with him.
So let's go from there. Tony Khan defends his reasoning for showing that it's not as long as Uncle Eric's. So there you go. That helped. So first of all, on TBS being happy with the performance of Dynamite from last week, quote, after the ratings came in, I felt like when TBS called me and told me, good job, you have to remember I'm responsible for everybody's jobs in the company. It's really important for us to please the network, and TBS is really happy with the show and that performance. That's the most important. Our fan feedback for the show, the ratings number, and the source from the fan feedback in the end of the network, and they were incredibly pleased. On numbers for the segment did over 400,000 viewers on the 18 to 49 demographic, which is a strong performance. That is TBS's judge of the show. That's how TBS judges the show. Is the most important metric that I have for the performance. Do I think what we did last week added a lot of intrigue to this match, and I'm very excited for the Dynasty pay-per-view, and we're very happy for how we got there. End quote. So they're happy with what they aired. They don't give a fuck.
He said, as long as if the ratings showed, you did your job. I mean,
the Bucks say they have no regrets over the all-in footage. Think controversy will help Jack Perry. Nick Jackson, and if they got the regrets about an angle, quote, as EVPs, we were given a task for that week by the boss, and we did it to the best of our abilities, no regrets. Nick on the controversy that how I might have Jack Perry, quote, he's been our next breakout star for a while now, and he just needed something controversial to happen to help and open people's eyes to him. That happened with us early on in our careers too. Mad on how Jack Perry has evolved, quote, Jack Perry was an AEW original hires. I saw video clips from him on the indies, then I went and watched everything I could find. Years prior, I heard stories about a 9-year-old boy being brought to wrestling training in Southern California by celebrity dad Luke Perry, and wondered whatever happened to that kid. Apparently, he'd been working hard and turning on.
He was the original?
Yeah, he was there from the beginning.
I thought he said he wasn't.
No, he was. Remember Jungle Boy?
No, I'm talking about, I thought that's what he said he wasn't.
No, he was saying he was.
Oh, okay, all right.
He said, I wonder whatever happened to that kid. Apparently, he'd been working hard and turning into a heck of a talent. I watched the videos and thought, whoa, young, handsome SoCal kid with a great head of hair. Seems misunderstood. Has tons of confidence. Reminds me a lot of me and Nicholas at that age. Coming back from Japan, Jack Perry now has that edge and swagger. And coming off this BS he's been dealing with, he has a chip on his shoulder. He's dangerous. He's a dangerous cat right now, and that's about to blow up. Mad on the similarities between and differences with FTR. Quote, when we watched them, we noticed that we're polar opposites from us. The presentation was different. Their style was different. We knew one day we would make for a compelling match. As different as we are, we all have the same mindset. Let's make the crowd the loudest for the longest period of time. We're just accomplishing the task in different ways. Gaining the momentum and the buzz of all those years and years ago only make us hungrier because now we are a new team vying to replace us. Competition breeds excellence. End quote there for that story with the Bucks. I like how they wrapped theirs up a lot quicker than Uncle Eric did.
Well, he probably was on a podcast when he was giving his, so he gonna try to what's the name.
Speaking of Jack Perry, let's talk about his NJPW time. He just had a great match with Shota Umino where he did everything to get himself over. So his scapegoat t-shirt had sold out coming off of this video footage thing happening. Then from there, he came out to the show with a Chicago flag on it. and the crowd hates him. You know, there's CM Punk territory there. He drops the flag. The back of his coat says "Cry Me a River," saying shit he told Punk, like "fuck you." He was total uber heel the whole match. Was doing really great in the match. Hasn't added a lot to his repertoire, but he's still, hitting hard. I like seeing him in that presentation in New Japan, where they do a little more strong style and stuff. Shooter looked great. Shooter ended up getting the victory in this match against him. So shout out to Shota Umino. On Jack Perry's plans now after that match, and this is coming, I'm saying this match was at the Windy City Riot. Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that Jack Perry has finished up his time in New Japan Pro Wrestling after his match with Shota Umino. I was just speaking of. His entrance went viral. I was speaking of also. It is noted that he's expected to return AEW imminently. Perry's name was used in AEW programming as of late, and the Bucks defended him over the All In footage that aired last week. Perry had been suspended since All In when he had a backstage altercation with CM Punk, which we all know of. Moving on from there. Tony Khan weighs in on a warning from Oklahoma Athletic Commissioner over a Nyla Rose match. He shares thoughts that AEW getting a warning from Oklahoma State Athletic Commissioner over Nyla Rose competing against another woman. As reported yesterday, the OSAC unanimously passed a motion to warn AEW over a match that took place in the state back in December last year, where Nyla Rose, a transgender woman, competed against Alejandra Lyon at a ROH taping. Rose laughed off the matter on Twitter and has garnered significant support from both fans and wrestling talent. Khan was asked about the matter in the media call promoting Dynasty, and his quote. Okay, ready? All right. Quote, I was surprised by this. It was not something I was expecting, and of course was disappointed by the commissioner's positioning about the warning. I don't think that we did anything wrong. I'm really disappointed and shocked by it. I don't think that we should be discrimination against transgender wrestlers or transgender people at all. And they all have rights. And to that end, I absolutely stand by Nyla Rose. AEW stands behind Nyla Rose and all transgender people who want to play sports, and this is wrestling. There's nothing wrong with it. Nyla Rose is a great wrestler. She's been a great world champion, and I love Nyla. I love working with Nyla. She's been a great part of our history. She's the first transgender world champion ever, and she's a great part of our AEW Together program. She does a ton for the community. She's a great person with a great heart, very supportive of other wrestlers. One of the funniest people on social media, and I personally nominated Nyla to TBS to be the best social media presence on more than one occasion over the years, and she's amazing. 2019, going back to the very first AEW shows, the very first Dynamite. I look at everything that Nyla has accomplished and just put a label on that's not right. She's much more than that, and she's a great athlete, and I hope everybody can look at Nyla and see that she's accomplished, great wrestler, a great person, and deserves the same chances as anybody else. And if AEW locker room, which consists of people from all over the world, all type of different backgrounds, all type of different beliefs, if everybody in the locker room can embrace Nyla, I hope that the Oklahoma Commission could do the same thing. So thank you. He has a lot more here. He's saying too, just basically putting more platitudes on her and talking about some of the numbers for the show they've done recently. But basically showing support for her. Now, here's another one real quick on the questions on whether they'll continue to run to Oklahoma. Quote, I definitely am treating this as a developing story. I was kind of surprised by this, but was definitely wanted to do our best to support the fans across America and all over the world by bringing AEW wrestling everywhere. We have great fans. We have great fans in Oklahoma that are important to us, and great fans all over the country. So if we're doing anything that we can support those fans, if there's something that we're going to think about, it's a fair question. Thanks for asking. So didn't really answer if they'll be back in Oklahoma or not. Yeah. I guess it kind of depends on the commission and if he has not a role in that show. But even to me, she's part of my roster. And if you're not accepting a portion of my roster, you're not accepting all of my roster.
Exactly.
That's how I take it. On his potential of the revenues for 2024 and potentially hiring somebody else to be a booker, because, he's currently the booker for his shows. This question was asked by PW Insider on potentially stepping down and hiring someone else to be the booker. Quote, that's a great question. Well, I would certainly at some point, we'd have to see where we were. think that with all the positions, nobody lasts forever. And eventually that's something, with any position in any organization that I'm in, that would be a reality. I think whether it's the Jaguars or Forum or AEW or True Media, I won't be here forever, It's definitely one of the highlights of my life, being able to get involved in these shows, work on these shows, and do creative planning, and I'm having more fun than ever right now. Really loved last night's show. I thought last night was a great, strong go home for Dynamite leading into the pay-per-view. I take it year by year, moment by moment, and I'm really loving the fact of what we're doing right now. I'm only 41 years old. I didn't know Tony was that young.
I know he was that young. Jesus. I thought he I didn't think he was like 50. I think he like 46, 47. I ain't know. God dang. 41.
He's 2 years older than me. All right, well, a year and a half, something like that. Anyway, and I feel like the company is in a really strong place. And for some of the greatest wrestlers in the world, and are very loyal to me personally, and I'm really very proud of that. And hopefully I can continue to do my best to repay them. And I think that right now the company is in a very strong place. We just had a valuation, I understand, of $2 billion placed on AEW today. As for a sports startup, it's the fastest rising sports startup of all time and the most successful sports startup in the world since the American Football League, the AFL, that merged with the NFL. I don't see the same future for us, but I do love comparing, and I think the numbers are quite real. And frankly, the story is very exciting for AEW. They talk about being a major sports player. There's a whole lot more to that paragraph there. Let's skip over to the revenue part of that, and that's the last part of the story. On AEW revenue, yes, quarter one in 2024, the revenue has been significantly up. We've run more events. We've added AEW Collision, and AEW Dynamite is strong. We've had good attendance in some markets over the year by year. Attendance is going up. In particular, a lot of really successful shows have been run with great events, including Boston, Toronto. AEW Revolution was one of our top U.S. gates ever. We also have then on the pay-per-view side, AEW Revolution in quarter one was one of the biggest AEW shows of all time. It was our biggest pay-per-view since last year's AEW All In, and surpassed last year's Revolution. Last year's Revolution did really well. It was one of the best pay-per-view shows of the year. A lot of people thought that it was the best pay-per-view show of the year, including MJF for Daniel Bryan in a 60-minute Iron Man match, and a lot of other great wrestling. Great show. This year, the wrestling did even better. The show did even better. The gate was up and pay-per-view buys were significantly up, which was for Sting's final match, the last pro wrestling match of Sting's career. On a personal level, it's probably the greatest thing I've been a part of and the greatest night I've ever been a part of, and it's a very successful business. With more shows, more pay-per-view revenue, has been more revenue this year, so with big growth, there's a lot of opportunity. Also, rights fees are higher with the 2024 option getting picked up versus the 2023 for Dynamite. In addition to more shows, we significantly had higher revenue for 2024. So it is, big growth as far as also big opportunities going into the media rights revenue renewal year and continuing growth for the business going into 2025. End quote.
Get to a couple more news stories. Might give you a breather.
Thank you.
That was a lot. What's the name? All right. So let's start this off with a couple quick news stories put into one. Start with this. There's no reason, but Dominic Mysterio likely will be pulled from the WWE European Tour to be replaced by Ricochet. There are no plans for your boy Drew Gulak.
But I heard that their investigation didn't turn up anything, though. That's what I heard.
So they've been out NXT storylines. They have no plans for him right now. So it's probably like, if the investigation turned up, then probably just stay away from him for a little while. They said that the Motor City Machine Guns are AEW bound after wrapping up their business with TNA. There have been creative pictures internally for the team in recent weeks as people are pushing for the company to sign them. So, and also there have been no talks with WWE. So it's likely that your boy is going AEW bound. I know they might get some charisma in AEW. They might. Chris Sabin needs some.
Skip that.
Couple more news stories real quick. Upstage plans for Julia. Julia, she's gonna work at least a handful of matches in Razzia Gawa's new Marigold promotion before reporting to the PC in late June, early July. She's gonna keep her name. They could obtain rights to her music, but right now they have no plans of doing so. Word in the country that her debut match will take place at Heatwave PLM on July 7, 2024, where she will challenge for one of the women's titles. She might be your new North American Women's Championship. The new belt they're debuting. I said debating. There are a couple of not shitty stories, sorry bitch stories. Your second favorite person, your second favorite person behind probably Uncle Eric is probably Conan, who's been on the 100, keeping it 100 podcast. Talked about some of their high profile signings and the financial returns of the company. He said AEW still spend a significant amount of times like Okada and Ospreay. We never understood how much Ospreay made. We know about Okada and Monet. Said question whether the promotion has seen a meaningful return on their investment. Well, I'll tell you one thing. We don't know how much money on Okada, right? He means absolutely nothing. As for Ospreay, you spent a lot of money on Ospreay. I won't say he means nothing, but so far you haven't really gotten a return on him. I'm thinking like that's a goddamn lie, bro. And you should be getting immediately. His most critical remarks was directed at Mercedes Moné, though, who he said is the biggest failure among the three. He basically said, and he highlighted her perceived weakness in delivering promos, I guess, which is a criticism that followed her from her WWE days. I never heard nobody in WWE say anything about her creating bad promos. Her biggest knock in WWE was that she could never stay healthy.
Yeah, that
was her biggest knock in WWE.
Yeah,
I ain't heard nothing about no bad promos coming from her. He said Monet is probably the biggest failure of all. Another bad promo. Do you not see how she's not good on the mic, live or backstage? First of all, don't say we've been talking about nobody, then say you and Disco, because you know you're talking about Disco Inferno, okay? I've been saying this about her since she's in WWE. We like her look, we like her wrestling, her swag. She's not good cutting off the mic, and she comes off like a heel.
So where's the bad promo in that? I mean,
that's basically what he basically was saying at the moment.
Because she comes off like a heel?
I guess because she comes off like a heel, but I guess she's babyface. I guess that's what he's trying to say. But I don't think to me she come off as babyface. To me, she comes off as a tweener in AEW right now.
So too.
Now, like, depends on the situation to me. She comes off as a tweener. I don't see her as a pure face or heel in AEW. And then Ronda Rousey gets called out for passing the buck in her WWE comment. You know, she been like going this thing on WWE lately. She's been openly critical about their time. She criticized Logan Paul, basically saying that he get unlimited resources to rehearse and prepare for matches, including herself. Said she had an instant classic her first match because she had 6 weeks prepared, but she never got the same opportunity again. Logan Paul, I'm getting to what Coach Jonathan Coachman said. Logan Paul said something to Logan Paul's like, he said he ain't gonna take no shots at her. He feel like she probably using him as them because she mad how her time in WWE where he said the most I got time to prepare for a match, he said was like a week, and they cut that down. Sure enough, I'm getting better and better. He said when I come, they know I'm gonna put on the show. They know I'm gonna get a reaction from the people. So basically, what he basically was saying. Anyway, he said that he never saw her put in the work, needed to succeed in the business. And he also accused her of avoiding responsibility for her shortcomings and blamed others for her lack of success. He also found her attitude infuriating and arguing.
Is it still Conan talking about?
No.
Mercedes Moné?
No.
All right.
No, this is different. This is Jonathan Coachman responding back to Ronda Rousey. Everything she was saying.
Okay.
Because he was with Ronda company during her first run when she was the Raw Women's Champion. He basically called her attitude infuriating, arguing that she didn't make an effort to own her craft, unlike stars like Becky Lynch. He also criticized her in-ring ability, pointing out that after her initial successful debut, people expected more from her she couldn't deliver. She really touched on Logan Paul and said, and this is what drives me about certain competitors when they blame other things and blame other people. She said this, Tommy, and I want your reaction to it. If I had preparation time, and I'm paraphrasing, if I had the ability to have the research and the company behind me and all the time prepare for my matches because I had a great first match, because I had that time, then I would have done more great things also. He said, you couple that with Becky Lynch saying she could never wrestle. That first been matter with her downfall because everybody expected that. Seeing that all these quotes in a way, it seemed like to me she hasn't taken ownership of anything during her time in WWE. And that's a little bit frustrating because I didn't see her one time when I was there, not once walk out the ring, work out during the day, put the time when she had all the time in the world. So I don't buy that passing the buck. Passing the buck, basically. So, basically. And that's what a lot of people been there. He was saying about Ronda Rousey. They said she came off like that, though. Like, she was Ronda freaking Rousey. Rousey, she thought that, like, she thought she'd get caught to, and
Kowtow.
not getting that too. This ain't Dana White. They ain't Dana White.
You got any stories left?
No, that's it.
All right, I got my last two. The last one we're gonna end with the R-Truth. I'll make the Tony Khan one kind of quick if I can. I'll skim through it. It's about the AEW right deal. Open up different pay-per-view options for the fans. First, it says, quote, I'm optimistic that we'll continue to deliver AEW digital pay-per-view events, multiple streaming platforms, and the most digital distribution that we ever had for any AEW event for AEW Dynasty this weekend, which is really exciting. There's been so many great options. Excuse me. There's been so many great options depending on what platform you use, what kind of device you want to watch it on. Pay-per-views are on. There will be a lot of options to watch AEW Dynasty. I think that it's really cool that Warner Brothers Discovery has given us all these different options for a long time. Bleacher Report have been an exclusive platform. I think it's been beneficial to us that it helped bring us closer to the Warner Brothers Discovery, which is our amazing media partner and an incredibly important relationship for us. That allows us to use multiple digital platforms for distributing AEW Dynasty and upcoming pay-per-view events. We'll leave that there because that's just a bunch of platitudes. On the media rights deal or the streaming rights deal, I think it's, quote, I think it's something that we'll be looking at and evaluating in upcoming media rights negotiations. I think it's a great opportunity for AEW, really our media team, and for all our fans to present this incredible library that has never really been made available. You know, it's amazing. We've done over 230 episodes of AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite. We've had hundreds of episodes of Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision approaching a 1-year anniversary. We've done so many great pay-per-view events over the past 5 years. A large percentage of the best events of pay-per-view and wrestling have been from AEW. A whole library has never been together in one place. There's no place really to go back and watch all these Dynamites and all these great events. So an archive library and a place to put streaming events. It's a really interesting idea and really certainly going to be, has existed in wrestling. And wrestling fans are able to watch a lot of events in streaming into the AEW events that should be up there. So basically they're working on one. They don't have an official thing for it. Last story I have is about R-Truth. So you were telling me about the injuries that he had when he went over NXT a couple years ago.
Yes.
That's exactly what we're talking about from November 2022. He had a torn bottom quad tendon during a match for AEW World Tag Team Champion.
If I'm not mistaken, I think he did it during the dive, diving during the ropes.
Finding the injury was way worse than expected, quote. So he looked at it. So he's looking at it, and after the wound wasn't healing, and before he even took out the stitches out, he said, oh, I need to clean it up. He sprayed a solution on it, and then he went and cleaned it out. And there's an actual hole in my knee. It might be amputated, so my whole world stopped. It was just thinking about not being able to be there for my family, for y'all, for me. I realized you got to keep moving. Life don't stop. You can't stop. You got to keep going. So adapting, evolving mentally. The wound ultimately healing. I got the stitches out, and the doctor gave me a high five. So the high five was like, oh, man, am I there? He said, yeah, man, we can high five. That's it.
Leave it all true. Yeah, we can high five. Like high five and go mess up your knee.
All right.
Okay, then.
So you want to get in the dark side first or Mount Rushmore?
We'll probably get in the dark side first. Like I said, the dark side, literally everything that happened in the dark side, I've seen in the documentary that I showed you with the one chick that was wigged out on something. I don't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
She was wigged out. But yes.
Dark side on gentleman Chris Adams. By all accounts, by most people, was a great guy. Started out doing judo over in the UK.
That I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was like a judo world champion. Like
To the point where he could have went to the Olympics, but once those opportunities kind of fell through for him, he decided he wanted to get into pro wrestling. Did a little bit over there in the world of sport, and that's where he met his first girlfriend / baby mama, I'll say, Jeannie. Ended up taking her with him over to the States because he ended up getting a job in World Class Championship Wrestling in Dallas in like the early 80s. So like 81, 82, somewhere around there. So then Chris started his foray into wrestling in the States, and he started becoming a big star here. But a lot of people happen to notice that he has a problem when it comes to alcohol. He makes it where he can't control himself. He ends up having different incidents with this. I think he almost beat up Jeannie a couple times, and she couldn't stand being around him when he was like that, so she decided to leave him. They had a little girl, his firstborn, which her name was Jade. He tried to be there and be a good dad for her and such, but that was also in between being on the road all the time, being a wrestler and such. Eventually, he gets into a tag team with Gino Hernandez. They had a real successful run while they were in WCCW until he tragically died in early I think it was January 86. If it wasn't January, it was probably in the summertime, but I know the year was 1986 when Gino Hernandez died of an overdose. So this affected Chris Adams and his career for real. Him and his first his baby mama, him and his first ended up breaking up during the same time. Around the same time is when he has I believe it's the incident on the plane where they're trying to, so the plane was stuck on the tarmac and it was hot, so they decided to liquor everybody up that was on the plane. By the way, pause, do you remember when they were talking to the cat King Parsons? Did you see his haircut from the 80s?
yeah.
Oh my god, bro, what the fuck was that? It was like the reverse Mr. T. It was like bald in the middle with like two strands here. And then he had like braids on the side. What the fuck? And shit was all over the place. Anyway, so he was talking about how back then, well, King Parsons was talking about this before we get back to the playing part. Back then, that they used to have these rooms for the wrestlers for, you know, outside of the ring where it'd just be straight parties. It'd be one room, be nothing but just cocaine, bricks of cocaine and weed. And then he said, then the bitches there, they just throwing the pussy at you like you ain't even got to work for it, and you just getting it all on you. So he said Chris was there getting it in as he does there, you know, indulging and stuff. Get to the incident on the plane where they're stuck in the tarmac for a while, and they decide that, well, we're gonna go ahead and liquor y'all up, keep you cool since it's hot on this plane and stuff. Eventually, the plane does take off. Say they're in the tarmac for maybe an hour and a half, something like that. So you got to deal with all that drinking. So by the time you're in the air, Chris is lit. He's lit, and they're like, "Yeah, bro, you can't drink no more."
They cut you off.
They cut him off. So then he stands up as they keep trying to cut him off, and he's like, "Fuck you, bitch," is what he said to the one flight attendant lady. So she decided to slap the shit out of him, obviously for calling her a bitch. So he just pushes her out the way like, "Fuck you, move, bitch." So then the pilot of the plane.
No, they said he punched her.
Oh, he punched her. He did punch her?
Yeah. Like they said he boomed. He like.
Oh, yeah, he did punch her.
He punched her.
So the pilot tries to come up and break the shit up. Like, you need to sit down before we turn this plane around type of deal. So then Chris picks him up. And he said every time he drinks, he always has this look in his eyes. Like,
They said the eyes get red or something.
Yeah, so he picks him up and he's like, I have the power.
He was on some Ultimate Warrior shit. He was on some Ultimate Warrior shit. I thought a warrior when he said that. Like, that's a warrior shit. He's going to start headbutting.
And then he proceeded to headbutt him like 4 times in a row. He proceeded to headbutt him like 4 times in a row. So then this other flight attendant runs up to first class to get Kevin Von there. You gotta get your friend. He's back here wilding
Kevin
out.
always just saying all these incidents, bro. I just feel like Kevin is around all these incidents, bro.
So Kevin gets back there. They finally get it broken up or whatever. When they land, Chris goes to jail. He did at least 6 months for headbutting the pilot. And surprisingly, he wasn't fired from his job from that. But it was one of the legendary stories of his career back then and stuff. And it started curtailing his career. So eventually, he has more incidents like that, which caused him to leave WCCW. More incidents of his drinking and his violence come out. There's an incident where he meets another woman, which is the mother of his second child, which is Junior, Chris Adams Jr. They have some incidents where they're in a car and they're like on a highway.
Yeah.
And she, for some reason, I think she gets scared driving. Maybe she's not used to driving.
They said they got into an argument. They got into
she
an
like
argument.
stopped in the middle of traffic
because they got into an argument.
They almost got hit into. She almost got hit by like
they said
a semi. Or
yeah,
something.
the semi didn't like see them. Then they basically all would have been killed. And
he proceeded to beat her ass right there on the highway in the seat.
And they said that would basically killed his career, basically.
Yeah,
like,
that
was in the nose and.
Yeah, that was a really bad incident for both her and for him. And that's where that started changing a lot of people's perceptions of him and things like that. So from there, he starts wrestling in GWF and kind of going other places. His fame starts going down a little bit from wrestling, and he's struggling to make it. Also, why he has an addiction problem on the outside of the ring. Now he has 2 kids. His baby mama seemed to try to hang in there with him for the most part until he starts letting the worst side of himself show, and eventually they decide they just can't be there and take it anymore, which seems to be the incident with both the breakers, with both the baby mama.
They get to the part when like when he said the GWF, I think,
yeah,
and he pulled the dude's wig thing out.
He had he had extensions in his hair.
Like
everybody knew,
yeah.
But he had them like I don't know how he had his tracks in, because I'm not used to talking about men with tracks, so this is weird.
They say they had like a wig like sewn in,
but it was sewn in. Chris knew this and ripped it out in the ring, and they said blood
everywhere. He had like 200 stitches, and like
one guy said it was the most blood he had ever seen. And he said Chris did it on
purpose.
There was other things that had happened, such as so Chris originally decided when his fame started going down, he'd do some side projects to bring some money in. He decided to start a wrestling training school. One of his original trainees was Steve Williams, who went on to become Stone Cold Steve Austin. Eventually,
and that's the bottom line.
When he started like getting his first taste on, working on TV, he decided to hook Steve Austin up with his ex girl Jeannie, his first baby mama.
So you was Kevin Sullivan before Kevin Sullivan, basically.
Yeah.
So he hooked
them, but he didn't. But just like, from what the rumor is about Kevin Sullivan, like he didn't have a problem with it that they were together or whatever.
No, he didn't.
He had a problem once that they left.
When Steve and them left WCW, yeah.
But originally they were catching some fire out of this angle because he had his girl, which was Chris Adams Jr.'s mama, was in the ring, and they had a cat fights with the 2 girls while they had their battles with the 2 wrestlers. And that was happening for a while, like we said, until eventually he bailed on to go to WCW. And a lot of people think that he always kind of harbored a little bit of hate for Stone Cold.
I feel that way.
For that.
I feel that way.
You know what I'm saying? Because he put him on.
And like
bring him with him or whatever like that, or hook him up from there, like give him a cut or something like that. Anyway, from there, Chris's career kind of curtails. He ends up, the second baby mama leaves him. Eventually, he makes it to WCW, but he basically becomes a job guy in WCW. Like they showed the ones he got crazy. So crazy. The giant Paul White, he was just chilling on the road, smoking a square, just chilling.
But how? Like what?
And Chris Adams kept trying, like, come on, fight me, come on. So eventually, he just like choke slammed him down like it wasn't nothing right quick. Put his foot on him for the 3 count while smoking the square still the whole time. I'm like, damn, that's what they think of you, cuz.
Yeah, that's man.
So they
didn't do Ed Leslie like that. He got a couple
So Chris Adams hated that. Plus, he started getting other addictions. He started being addicted to things like GHB. Eventually, his career in ring slowly winds down from there. He's basically homeless almost. He can't he is living couch to couch with some people because he does a show like maybe once a month, so he's not really bringing any money in. This is the instance where he ends up meeting the Boo Ray. Because one of his great fans at the time, Boo Ray didn't have the heart to put him out in his ass because he knew he wasn't bringing any money in, and he knew who he used to be as a person as far as his status as a wrestler. So he decided to put up with it. He was a good friend to him and let him stay with him and stuff like that. This is when his addiction to GHB started kicking up. He met a girl. I believe they said her name was Linda. I could be wrong.
It was Linda.
Okay. And they said she was a sweetheart of a girl, especially at the time in Chris's life where he had nothing going on, no prospects, wasn't bringing in any money, but for some reason she still kicked it with him and loved him. One night, he, her, and Boo Ray was out chilling. Boo Ray said, 3's a crowd. I'm going to bed early. I guess Chris has shared some GHB with her, but gave her too big of a dose. Boo Ray said he was woken up by the silence. Went out there to check on him. Turns out to find out she's dead on the floor, overdose. Chris has passed the fuck out. He somehow survived, but he's charged with the manslaughter of her death. So he has to live with that. So he has that going on. Then
hit him so much that he wanted to take his life, apparently.
Well, eventually his life is going to be taken pretty soon after this because we're cutting up on that part now. It's funny you say that.
Ouch.
So eventually we lead to the date of July 10th, 2010, I do believe. I could be wrong on the year part, but I know the date was July 10th. I remember the show with the headstone. Maybe it was 2007. I could be wrong. Anyway, so Chris Adams and Boo Ray are kicking it, chilling, drinking some beer, some brandy. All of a sudden, Chris, I guess he was like
2001.
So Chris was trying to horseplay a little bit, but he was taking it too far. And then he starts they said that he picked up a post from the bed and swung it at Boo Ray like he was trying to hit him with it for real. Boo Ray ducked it. And eventually Chris had got him to a chokehold, but we see how crazy Chris get when he drink. He turned red out like a demon. Boo Ray felt like he saw that in his face too. He was choking him so hard he wouldn't let go. Eventually somehow he scrambled to get his hands on some type of a gun and shot Chris in his chest, real close to his heart.
He said he aimed for the shoulder, but in the terms of all the struggle, it hit him in his heart, basically.
Right.
So
that caused Chris to fly back off him, obviously. Boo Ray tried to call for help, but it was too late. I believe he was announced dead on his way down to the hospital. Boo Ray, I don't believe, was charged. I think, if anything, it was self-defense. You know what I'm saying?
And the way he explained, and his story stayed the same on the dark side as it did in the documentary. It said what he said. He was like, I tried everything to get him off me, man, but it's his grip was just so tight. I just reached for the gun. He said I wasn't trying to kill him. I was just trying to try to shoot him in the shoulder, shoot to wound him or something. Hopefully that would get him off of me. And didn't work. He said he tried to aim for the shoulder, but I guess in the midst of all the tussle, it went for his what's the name, which I can understand. You got a guy choking you, what's the name, and so I think I forgot who it was. The one person felt that he did it on purpose, basically. I don't think he did it on purpose.
What, shot him?
Yeah.
His brother said.
Yeah, his brother think I don't think he did it on purpose.
I mean, but as his brother, I think I might feel like that too. That family connection there. He loved his brother, so he wasn't there. So of course you would think.
I mean, yeah.
You don't want to think the worst.
You don't want to think the worst of your brother, but I also figured too that he probably was around his brother enough to know that
he should have known.
Your brother got like that when he's
your
drunk.
brother can get like
your
that.
brother get like that when he start drinking, and it's and all the incidents show, bro. You had to hear all that shit about your brother over here. Getting in bar fights, super kicking people in Israel, and
I forgot about them
the hell out of
stories.
bar
There was other stories they didn't even talk about on
punching
there.
female flight attendants and damn near headbutting the pilot 5 times, telling him to feel the power or something like that. You knew your brother was a totally different animal when he was drinking.
He couldn't get in control of the drinking. His kids were enough as a motivation to get him to tap out, but for some reason
he just always
kept it coming to the alcohol to say it.
Every time something bad happened, that was his vice. That's what he knew.
So that was the story of.
I think he wasn't the same really after Gino died, though. I think after Gino died, that's when it really hit him. Mm-hmm. That was his boy. Gino said they both party fast, they lived hard, they wasn't there. They said Gino died with cocaine overdose, I think.
Yep.
Said they found his body decomposed. He was dead for at least 2 days when they found his body.
Mm-hmm.
And they said they lived together. They didn't live together, but
the same apartment
they're the same apartment complex. So,
It's crazy.
Next week we get Sensational Share. That's going to be even more of a crazy one.
All right, so while we're at it, let's get into Mount Rushmore real quick. Then we get to the shows for this week. All right, so our Mount Rushmore, due to that shitty ass one we had, which made our worst list, we should talk about first before we talk about our best. Brother versus brother battles. We tried to stick to actual brother versus brother.
That didn't make my list.
But eventually we made it. And it didn't make the worst list?
Jimmy and Jay?
Yeah.
No.
Wow. So your other four were worse than that. Well, let's talk about it. Fuck it. We tried to stick to actual blood brothers, but we went outside that a little bit. But we stuck to that edict for the most part. Go ahead, bro. Let's get started.
Number 4 for me, I went with Matt Hardy and Jeff Vengeance Day 2001. This was in the peak.
Is this the best or worst?
Worst.
All right.
And this was the match between them two where Lita was the special guest referee because she knew them both closer out of everybody. And basically this was when Jeff was starting to take off a little bit, become more popular than Matt. And Matt basically was jealous. It led to this match. Lita counted the pinfall for Jeff and just Matt basically just super ass salty about it. It led to Matt like that angle basically led to the thing with him and Lita beefing back and forth, which eventually turned around to her what's name, which led to real life thing with her and Ed. It's just a lot. like so this story had like long term effects. But the match wasn't really that good though, as you expect for the Hardy Boys though. I mean, so that's on my list. I didn't put Jimmy Jr. because I thought it was like too soon. Like, yeah.
All right. I'd have had it on there, but all right.
You want to do 4 or you want me to just
Keep going with the bad list of bad ones, then we'll start getting our good ones.
Okay, you start with the good ones. All right. I went with Undertaker and Kane, the casket match. The reason I put this on here was because it was a casket match, but the casket was not a factor because they destroyed the casket. So it basically went to like a no contest. Basically, it basically just fighting. Like, what was the point of a casket match if you both destroyed the casket? Like, now I went with Goldust versus Stardust from Fastlane. Like, do we need to say any more about that match? Like,
No, it involves Stardust. That's it.
that, and then Booker T versus Stevie Ray from Sold Out 2000. We all know why this match was bad. This match was bad before even the bad part of the match interjected themselves in the match.
The booking, Big T's reveal, everything. He was blown up before he got to the ring.
Yeah, he was. That match was horrible, man. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's horrible. All right, so let's get into our good ones. So for my good ones, I have, and some of these we had the same, some were different.
Oh, you did your bad? Or you didn't?
No, my bads were even. I had the same bads as you had. I was with you on all of those. The only other bad ones I had that you didn't bring up was Scott versus Rick Steiner from Fall Brawl '98.
I couldn't put that on it just because of the injury.
You know why? I get it because of the injury, but you know why I put it on there? Because you know what this led to? Do you know what his next feud was after this?
Who?
It's Rick Steiner's.
What was it?
He feuded with the Chucky doll after this. Because the Chucky doll is about to come out with the Bride of Chucky movie.
Oh, Lord.
Do you remember that from WCW?
I seen the movie.
Well, he actually had a feud with the Chucky doll on TV. And this is after that. This is right before that happened. So this is why I was like, oh, yeah, this is definitely making the list. And I couldn't talk about that as being on the worst. It'd be on the worst. It'd be on there for sure. That's right up there with fucking RoboCop in WCW. So, what else did I have? Anything else I could think of that was really that bad on the bad? No, that's it. Yeah, we got to the most of the bad ones. So let's get to the good one. All right, so first on my list of good ones, well, no particular order really. We're just talking about there. Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy from the Broken Universe. I liked this brother Nero, Jeff. Matt, got the ball rolling with the whole Broken Universe thing, showing another side to his character.
Best work.
Some of his best work for sure, reinventing himself and everything. Then he got his brother and the rest of the family involved with it. Even his father-in-law, Senior Benjamin, and the dilapidated boat. It was all good fun. It was hilarious, and he rode the wave off of this. Probably the best reinvention of his career, I would say, maybe.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's my number 4.
My number 4, I went with Ray Phoenix and Penta El Zero from Dynamite. Just any of their matches though, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I think this match was
The one they're both
in the
carrying
title
their fucking mask off.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think there was this was I think for the world title qualifier match, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Ray Phoenix went to the end, but I think he had to pull out because of injury. So
Yeah.
because he was one that's supposed to face Kenny Omega for the title, but they wound up running it back anyway in a good match. But yeah, so
Next match, very bloody match from Revolution, I believe 2020. Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes for AEW. Great brother versus brother match with a great promo at the end of it where Cody was like crying, calling for his brother. The whole storyline behind it, one of the greatest matches in the history of AEW's in their short history so far, is definitely this match.
it's a tribute to their daddy.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
what I call that match was. It was
For
a
sure.
tribute. It was a tribute to Dusty. I got that on there too. So the next one, I got that one on there.
My next will be, we can even up on this one because we both had this, but in different iterations. Owen Hart versus Bret Hart. I had the steel cage match for the title from SummerSlam 1994. A lot of people would choose their match, which is often considered the greatest opening match in the history of WrestleMania at WrestleMania 10, which I agree with those thoughts, but I just wanted to be different. I knew a lot of people would pick that, so I picked this.
I put 10 on there. I mean, I think 10 was the prelude to that SummerSlam match that Owen got. He beat his brother for the title. He kept lording it over Bret, over him. Bret like, okay, fine, okay then, me and you for the title. Because I think at 10 it went to like Bret didn't really want to fight his brother.
No, he didn't.
He really didn't. SummerSlam,
He was ready
Bret was
for it
like,
by
you know
that
what?
point.
I'll give him no fucks no more, bro. You want to do this? Let's do this. Let's do this. And that's actually what made the match actually better. But the fact that Bret didn't want to fight his brother at 10, he still led to that great of a match. Also, to it gave Owen his flower because Owen was slept on as a wrestler. And it kind of propelled him a little bit, to like, damn, Owen could. He may be your old brother, but like, we still got to put some respect on his name, though, like, so.
All right. What's your next?
Oh no, I had Owen versus Bret 10. So same brothers, different matches, different variations. So my number 1 is I went with the first Inferno match between Undertaker and Kane. They was on one of the worst. They got on one of the best. Rarely see Inferno matches no more, but that was a good match. Undertaker won. I just remember where Undertaker is just like he just bounced to the ropes and just leapfrogged over on Kane and Paul Bearer, I think it was. I'm like, okay, it's an Inferno match. How you gonna do that when you get back into the ring? But basically, the end, I think they kept brawling and Kane basically got punched into what's the name? His arm got put on fire. So that's probably, I think of that probably their greatest match of all time against each other.
That was your last?
Yeah.
My last is a oldie but a goodie from ECW Hardcore Heaven 1995. Axel Rotten versus Ian Rotten Taipei Deathmatch. If you don't know what that is, you basically take your tape fist, roll them around in glue, and then roll those in broken glass bottles, and then proceed to beat the shit out of each other. Violence ensues. So it's just a classic match between brothers. What was the reason behind this? Not really one. They just liked it doing crazy shit. So they decided to go ahead and just put it together. At this point, I don't really think there was a reason behind it. I don't think they had a beef. There wasn't a storyline. It's kind of something they wanted to do just because they said they're more hardcore than anybody else. So.
There had to be a storyline behind that. I don't think y'all are gonna be just doing Taipei death matches like that.
Basically, it says, let's face it, a match in wrestling between the two, you're not going to get a wrestling classic. You're going to get lucky if you get two wrestling moves strung together. Instead, all you're going to see is two brothers punching each other, slashing each other's arms, foreheads open with broken glass. Also, there's some thumbtacks thrown in the ring mat, too, for good measure.
Okay, so, basically, they had a match. They lost a match on November to Remember. And then they lost to a match on Hardcore TV. which the stipulated basically the losing team had to break up. And during the match, Ian Turnto asked about hitting him with a chair. And then they traded matches. Like, that's what led to, they had a hair versus hair match, a barbed wire baseball match, a barbed wire baseball, barbed wire chair match, which Axel won all these matches. And then they had the Taipei Death match, which Axel won now. Damn, Ian, you ain't winning a single feud against your brother, bro. You lost all 4 of these matches, bro. Damn, they couldn't give you one. You couldn't get one. You lost all 4.
All of them.
Damn. Wow, that's crazy. All right. Dang, that sucks. Okay, that's that was the end of the Mount Rushmore.
Yep, let's get into the show this week. We can get out of here in about an hour or so.
Yeah, you got the first one.
Yeah, I do. I'm trying to find where we have it pulled up at.
Windy City
Windy City Riot, yes. Hold on, I'm trying to find my notes for it. That way I got the card for card. I remember what happened. I can't. Without my notes I had for it, I can't. I'm not gonna redo it in order. I guess I would say. No, I thought it was here. And no, it's not. All right. Well, I'll wing it for now so I can pull it up here. So, Windy City Riot was a pretty good show, and we saw some different things come out of it. So, first of all, one of the great matches I saw on there, I told you a girl, Azumi, was working super hard that weekend. She had a New Japan Strong title match against Stephanie Vakur, or Wagner, however you want to pronounce it. I thought it was a good showing by both. Vakur retained her title. She looked great in the first match I seen from her. Hopefully get to see more of her in AEW. I know Tony Khan was talking about signing her if he could. She's currently with CMLL and New Japan Strong, obviously. Post-match of that match she had with Azumi, she was called out by Alex Knight, I believe was the chick's name. So they'll be having a title match, I believe, at Resurgence, which is in May in Ontario, California. Also on this Windy City Riot show that Umino taking on Scapegoat Jack Perry, feeding into the crowd with the show being in Chicago. Came out with a Chicago flag over his shoulders till he dropped the reveal that his jacket read Crimea River. He played great heel here, had a great weekend. His Scapegoat t-shirt sold out. So that was good news for him. Had a great match here. Shooter ended up winning it. Shooter's on his rise ever since he's come back from excursion. So we'll see where that goes for him moving forward. Also on this show, we had Takahashi taking on Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali retained his title. Here we go, my notes. I was looking for him. There you go. Takahashi retained his title. Let's start this. So I got you from the talk about the Wagner match. TMDK defeated the Gorillas of Destiny, Fred Rosser and Tom Lawler, and West Coast Wrecking Crew to become Openweight Tag Team Championships. I like this because we talked about it before. The tag team of TMDK, which is the Mighty Don't Kneel, which is led by Zack Sabre Jr. The tag team for them was formerly in NXT, TM61. That's who won these tag belts right here. Also in the Gorillas of Destiny in the match was my man LP and the Hikuleo. Hikuleo, who they've been talking about possibly signing with WWE soon, where his brother Tama Tonga just signed, maybe joining that bloodline feud they have going on there. So good to see Slapjack having a good return after getting out of that bullshit and getting himself a title here too. So that's shout out to him. We said Shota Umino defeated Jack Perry. Mustafa Ali defeated Hiromu Takahashi. In the Riot Rules match, Gabe Kidd, Kenta Clark Connors, and David Finlay defeated Eddie Kingston, TJP, Jeff Cobb, and Homicide. Yes, the homicide you're thinking.
Okay, I was about to say, I was thinking like that. Homicide? Yeah,
it was
answer
that
my
one.
question.
It was that one. He took the pin too. Then after he lost the match, Kingston challenged Kid to a no ropes last man standing match at the same Resurgence show.
No ropes last man standing match. Ooh.
Yep.
Okay.
Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Matt Riddle in a really good match. He got his World Television Championship back, and he issued a challenge to Jeff Cobb post match. In a non-title match, Nick Nemeth defeated Tomohiro Ishii. A lot of people wonder if, since he was in WWE for so long, would his style work in Japan? It does, and he's still a great seller. I thought that match was one of the greatest sellers of all time against one of the most hard-nosed wrestler motherfuckers of our time. So it works together, because while he's throwing out these hard-ass lariats, Dolph's going to sell the fuck out of that shit. So it was a good mix there in that match. I enjoyed it. Then we had our main event, which was IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match. Jon Moxley taking on Tetsuya Naito. This is a pretty good one. Moxley took a lot of damage here at first from a chair from Naito. They brought a lot on the outside. Typical Moxley match. Of course, he ends up being busted open. Eventually, though, he takes the upper hand, hits about 3 Death Riders in a row, 2 or 3 of them, and picks up the victory. He is now the first man in pro wrestling history to hold the World Championship in the WWE, AEW, and New Japan. He is the first ever to hold all 3. So shout out to him to add to his legacy. He said he's been chasing it for 5 years. Got a great promo afterwards, thanking the fans, calling out Shooter Umino, giving him the first shot at the belt because that's his boy. That was his young boy. Ren Narita came out and attacked him. Shooter came out and made the save though afterwards, and that was Windy City Riot.
It seemed like that Naito would be Moxley would be the perfect person for Naito to drop it to.
Let's see how long he holds it though, because I honestly can't see him holding it longer than like Forbidden Door.
I think
because it's New Japan's main title.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They're gonna probably want it back on somebody in the company sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I just think that I said Naito. I think it's to the point where I think Naito's starting to like he want to get out of full ring.
Yeah, he's gonna wind down. He has way too many injuries.
So it makes sense. Probably Moxley probably was like the perfect person for him to probably like drop it to. Now, question is, if they do hold to Forbidden Door, who's going to take it off him?
Yeah, as I said, you got time to build to that now.
You know,
we'll see what happens with that.
So I wouldn't mind go Ace, but I don't think it's going to be him.
No, I heard he's going to be taking on Nick Nemeth soon. Nick Nemeth's been calling him out. Dolph. Yeah.
This will be a good match, though.
All right. Then you have AEW Collision from last Saturday, where they recap the night before where Moxley won the title. Blackpool Combat Club was proud of Moxley and their win. They're getting ready to take on Don Callis' family tonight. Opening match of the show, House of Black taking on Dante Martin, Matt Sydal, and Action Andretti.
Oh, Lord.
There's no need to keep talking because one of the participants is
Matt Sydal.
That's a loss for that team.
That's sad. That's sad. You just associated with You just associated with loss.
Cannonball Running Boots combination finishes off for Brody King at 14 minutes and 22 seconds. Sydal is the one that took the pin.
Of course he is. He always going to be the one to take the pin.
We look at Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa giving Mariah May dueling kisses. Tony Storm says she getting used to what you're seeing last week and teases kissing May again, but then gets distracted by her talk of a match with Azumi. She promises to give her a beating so intense it will be featured in fetish periodicals. I guess she's gonna bondage her, I guess.
I don't know.
I don't know her.
I don't know. It's Tony Storm. I'm no longer out going to ask questions.
Next up, Chris Jericho talks to Taz, convinces Taz to get him a meeting with Hook. Next up is Lee Moriarty versus Shibata with Anthony Ogogo on commentary. I thought he did pretty good, showcasing himself on commentary. Had a good showing here by Lee Moriarty, but, PK Kick took him out for the pin. Shibata wins 10 minutes, 41 seconds.
Of course, Shibata's going to win that.
Post-match, Shane Taylor comes in to jump on Shibata. Hook comes in for the save. We look at Athena retaining her women's title against Shida at Supercard of Honor. On the same show, Dominion, Billy Starks won the inaugural women's TV championship for ROH, we spoke of. Athena's going to headline Battle of the Belts, which we'll get into in a little bit because that was right after this show. Taking on Red Velvet. Roger Strong. Roger Strong brags about winning. Real quick too, so because I'll probably forget it later. Red Velvet cut a decent promo, but what I loved about her promo is that Lexi was giving the promo and she addressed her like Athena's her boss, so she was real aggy with her during the whole thing, and then she stormed off. But Lexi did her typical Lexi thing, like that. She wasn't talking shit back. I just like that she addressed.
Yeah, because you're one of her minions, okay? So you're team Althena, no matter how it goes.
She addressed it as such. So like she felt like her line of questioning was like condescending. I liked that in the promo. It was good. It was good. Roger Strong brags about winning on his own and promising to do it again tonight over Rocky Romero. Daniel Garcia taking on Angelico next.
Say who?
Angelico. Why you make that face?
I had to double check to make sure you said that name, the right person. Okay.
Your face there, that was awesome. Anyway. Yeah, that's it.
Shit irks me, man. Like, hold on, bro.
So basically it's
the Conor McGregor, bro. Like
it's that versus the dancing guy.
Oh.
The dancing guy.
I'd rather do what Angelico do than Daniel Garcia.
And Sir Petrico was here with the, with the streamers. The Spider-Man streamers and shit. Eventually in the middle of the match there, they trade rolling it over until Garcia starts kicking away at the knee to keep they're switching. Basically they were changing figure fours and start rolling it over on each other until Garcia starts kicking away at the knee to keep him down. Garcia fires right hands in the corner. Saito suplex, sets up a knee bar to make Angelico tap. 5 minutes 47 seconds. Tony Storm versus Zumi is next. Zumi started wrestling at 11. It's crazy. She's only 21 now.
Mm-hmm. Her and Starlight Kid, I want to say, I think they said they was in the same class as Kari Zane.
Went 9 minutes 40 seconds. I
didn't watch that match. I gotta watch it. It's a Zuni match. I have to.
Mariah May was out there for Storm, while Anna Jay was out there for Azumi. They started opposed off to begin with at first, but then they got into it. Anna Jay and May fighting the floor. Azumi used the distraction to hit a kick off the apron. Back from break, exchange of forms. Azumi kicks her in the head for a double knockdown. Top row double stomp, gets a 2 count on Storm, who's right back with a sit-out choke bomb for 2 of her own. She snaps at the nasty German suplex, then a Storm 0 for the pin. Post-match, Mariah May brings in her own champagne, and Storm licks it off her face. Mark did the promo Red Velvet I was talking about earlier. Mark Briscoe has ready to bring the violence to the House of Black. Thunder Rosa comes out. She cuts a promo for everybody having her back doing her comeback, but she said one person doesn't need having her back, Diana Perrazzo. She said she got her to the title herself before.
She said she might have to get back surgery again down the line.
That sucks. It might be a Stone Cold situation where she can only wrestle a couple years at a time, maybe. Like, remember how Stone Cold knew he was on Broad time after he got the neck injury? Mm-hmm. Then it was about 5 years later, and he eventually had to retire for good. Maybe it's that type of deal. Toni Storm made a mistake trying to erase her face paint, and now she's coming for the title and to drag Storm to hell. It was a great promo for her. One of her best promos she's had since she's been there. She brought the fire in that promo. Diana Perrazzo cut the promo next, saying she's fine with not helping Thunder Rosa, but she still wants Toni Storm and to wrestle that title away from Toni Storm. She said she'll be taking on Mariah May next week and looking to break her arm. The Bucks versus FTR title match has now been made a ladder match. Don Callis' family said they're here to hurt Bryan Danielson before he faces Will Hobbs at the pay-per-view next weekend. Blackpool Combat Club versus Don Callis is the main event. Kyle Fletcher and Will Hobbs taking on Danielson and Castagnoli. Match went 25 minutes, 44 seconds. All showed off their stuff here. They basically tried to beat down Dan Bryan every time they could, kind of put him through tables and stuff, and every time Claudio had to come make the save. Eventually gets down to the end of the match. where World's Strongest Slam gets Hobbs a 2 count and he grabs a chair. The chair gets taken away by the ref inside the ring. When he goes back to swing it, he just reaches over, grabs it out of his hands. He gets sent over and announced that they got cleared off. Danielson isn't having that. He takes out Hobbs from there. Castagnoli hits a neutralizer on Fletcher to get the pin. They still jump Danielson afterwards because Contessa comes down, hits him in the back, starts to beat down. They chant for Moxley to come out, which he doesn't at that point in time. Claudio comes and makes the save and runs the villains off with a chair. While Danielson, I think he caught a brain buster on the ramp from Konosuke Contessa, which is why he was down. So selling, taking him out before the match at the pay. Real quick, I'll make Battle of the Belts very, very easy for you, brother. And damn, I only got one show left after this week. All right, I got on mine in quick. That never happens. It never happens. Everything was in the bulk.
We got it next week.
Everything was front loaded. That's why it's weird.
I know, right?
All right, so Battle of the Belts 10. Here
10, but 10
number 10. Yep. You open the match with Hook versus
Ty
Shane.
Dillinger. We need 10.
Hook versus Shane Taylor. Match went 10 minutes and 25 seconds.
Ironic.
Pretty good match. Hook taps out Shane Taylor, but I like that he showed it was a slugging match between him at first, and then it showed that Hook can take on a man that's bigger than him, getting off some suplexes against him because he did get up a couple suplexes and a T-bone plex, I think, at one point. Eventually taps him out with the red rum. Rocky Romero says he's ready for the match with Roger Strong. Kyle O'Reilly comes in and wishes him luck. There's actually some development here on Battle of the Belts, and not just a typical shitty Battle of the Belts show. Roger Strong, all champions won, so that didn't change. But there was development storyline wise here for you.
Well, if all champions if all champions retain, then that's some story development is a plus.
Yeah, exactly. You get something out of it, right? All right, so in this Rocky Romero match with Roger Strong, get to the middle of it. Romero's fighting out of a chin lock, kicking him to the floor. He hits some dives, takes out Strong Company, followed by a standing sliced bread for 2. Strong hits a sick kick for 2 of his own. Romero snaps off a Hurricane Rana into a tornado DDT. They both go up top for a super sliced bread, giving Romero a 2 more count. Romero goes back up and tries for a dive, but he dives right into a jumping knee of Roger Strong, so he retains without even having to use his finisher. At 11 minutes, 39 seconds. So then from there, post-match, Kyle O'Reilly comes in the ring, but he doesn't come in and check on Roger Strong. He just comes in and checks on Rocky Romero to see how he's doing. And then it is jumping.
Don't blame him.
They've been teasing him for a while, but after that, they jumped him after that. It's like, come on, Kyle, huh? You want to take on me now, huh? Do it by yourself. Like, he was yelling at him and shit while they beat his ass and shit and laid him out. So that's going to be match of the papers, Kyle O'Reilly versus Roger Strong. For the title. Serena Deeb said she'd love to see Yuka Sakazaki come back and help her climb the rankings, so they need to fight. And your main event of Battle of the Belts was the women's title match, Athena versus Red Velvet. Nice matchup for Red Velvet. It goes 12 minutes, 44 seconds, but she once again is succumbed to the O-Face. Athena retains her title. They need to bring Athena up to the main roster. Post-match,
they really do. They beat everybody there.
Post-match, her and Billy Starks beat down Red Velvet. Queen Aminata comes in and makes the save. So I'm assuming
she should be the one that should take the belt off.
I don't know if I'd say that, but she'll be challenging soon for sure. Beat her for it. I don't know about all.
She should, because get payback on the men by being the lead minion.
True.
Minion. I mean, she do need to go up. I don't know who else there that could take it off of her. She beat every damn body.
Unless they got somebody. I mean, Billy Starks eventually would be the story.
Yeah, but if you want, she will be. But how long that's gonna take though? How long you want? Because I want that thing up immediately. Like she need to be up. Like,
yeah, that's true.
I don't know though.
I don't know, but yeah, that's my show until we get to Dynamite.
All right, I go into Monday Night Raw. Starts off with Rhea Ripley. The whole day was the rumor that like they don't know if she's gonna vacate the title. She's very up. She comes down, arm is in the sling. She's very pissed off, and said she's not gonna be around, but she's gonna get right to the point. She's gonna be out for a couple months, and she had to vacate that title. She blamed the Liv Morgan Revenge tour and said that When she comes back, you're gonna have to put her in jail because she's going to kill Liv Morgan, basically. Morgan. Out comes Liv Morgan, who comes out here all dancing and what's her name, and then basically they gotta get pulled apart. And she just headbutts one of the security guards, bro. And she leaves, go backstage, gets Judgment Day. They all basically give her a hug. They basically tell her take care of Dom, you know. Then we gonna get so Sheamus. Two things. One thing, love he got his old theme music back. Two, he got big as fuck, bro. Sheamus looked like
He got even bigger.
Sheamus looked like Gunter before they made Gunter lose the weight, bro. He got a gut, bro. Like Sheamus got a gut. Sheamus like he ate old Sheamus. Like he got a gut, bro. Now but anyway, he is fighting Ivar. Meat on meat men. Come back.
Meat slapping men.
Yeah, one of your favorites. Ivar kicks Sheamus in the head, goes for a top rope splash. Sheamus fights out of a 2, running knee bro kick. Sheamus gets the win at 8 minutes and 18 seconds. Next, we get a video on Triple H is here. He talk about how hot the crowd is. Talk about what happened at Mania. He basically introduced a new tag team belt for Awesome Truth. R-Truth thinks Triple H is a musician because the title just appeared. He said he don't trust those musicians after Little Jimmy. You really know that's Tommaso Ciampa. Miz basically talked about being in Montreal and thinking the fans want Sammy. Miz explained to R-Truth some stuff in French. Triple H just basically asked, "Can I go, please? Give me the title so I can leave." leave, and basically we get a triple threat #1 contenders match, which is the New Day versus the Creed Brothers versus DIY. We all know who won this match. Meet in the middle, DIY on the Xavier Woods for the pin. Couple things I've seen in this match, and I'm gonna go to it. I go to the main event. The Creed Brothers here tease like heel tactics in this match. They might be turning, probably. Next we get Ivy Now, Maxine Dupree versus Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. We all know who won this match. Indy Hartwell finally embraced her dark side. She basically cheats, offers a distraction. They get the win with 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Basically, Priest tell Judgment Day they gotta keep focused even though Rhea's hurt. JD and Dom need to deal with Andrade. Finn Balor to take out Jey Uso. Then we get Donovan Mysterio versus your boy Andrade.
Eat a look.
Gets the win here at 8 minutes and 40 seconds. Andrade wins when he hit Dom hit a Canadian Destroyer in this match. Oh, but he called it this country destroyer though, because I guess he's still being an asshole.
Did he ever stop?
And then like this country destroyer is what McAfee called it. Like, what do you mean this country destroyer? Like dang, like we just gonna shit on every country, man. Okay then. JD comes out for a beatdown on Andrade. Your boy Ricochet makes the save here. They interviewed Jay about Jimmy. He basically said, "Look, I gotta focus on me, man. I got a title match coming up. I told him to come with me, but it is what it is," basically, is what he basically saying. Like, you my brother, I still love you, but what you did was on your own. I don't know, basically. Piper Niven, Chelsea Green, Katana Chance, Kaden Carter. Almost missed our favorite game here, but we ain't get it this time. 2 minutes and 11 seconds. Piper Niven and Chelsea Green gets the win here. Lil Morgan basically said this is karma for Ripley injuring her, and this is the funny thing. You want to know what's ironic about this story and how stuff just come around full circle? Rhea Ripley took out Lil Morgan, and Lil Morgan basically got put off the show because she hurt her shoulder during the attack by Rhea Ripley.
I knew that. And
it comes around full circle now because now Rhea's off the shelf off the attack off Lil Morgan. It just happened to be coincidental that they both had shoulder injuries around that time, you know, because that was during that cursed championship belt when everybody that had the belts was getting injured.
I remember.
Cody comes out here for a chat. He said he's glad to be on Raw, but he's a SmackDown guy now. Basically, he want to thank Seth Rollins for being the Shield. He said The Rock said something yesterday talking about he trained, about the training he did. Jay comes out here. Cody basically said he loved to have Jay. He said he loved that Jay had his back. He always have his. Jay basically appreciated the offer. Said I need to do this on my own. Cody says okay. Things I hate Cody does. The adrenaline thing with the Prime thing. He said until we yeet again though. Like no. You get what I'm saying?
I love you, Cody. Stop, bro.
Stop, right? Like, bro.
You know what I can see
until
happening?
we yeet again.
And this isn't me.
What you mean until we yeet again?
This is not me shitting on my man because you know I love me some Codes. He's part of our show. But I can totally see him. So you know how they keep been talking about? You ever see him turning heel? Like he could be the eternal babyface. You know where they're gonna do it? If he has the moment that happened at AEW. Remember all the fans loved him there, and eventually they kind of turned on him.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that happening again. Because you know they'll get fickle. Just like they got tired of Cena after a while. If he wins a lot, they could get tired of him too. And he could play into it.
Yeah, he can. Next we get Jay Uso versus Finn Balor. Jay gets the win here. 9 minutes and 12 seconds. This was basically a get him ready for the world title match. But it was a great match between Jay and Finn though. Great match. Priest comes down for the stare down. Dominic and JD try to make a save. Jay basically takes them out. Then Jay runs into Sammy. And Sammy looking up at the building. And Jay like, bro, you alright? What the hell you looking at? And Sammy like, this is the first building I ever had my first wrestling match at. So he basically just taking it in a moment, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Jay like, okay then. They do their handshake, you know. Jay walks off. Then he comes, Zayn coming to the arena. He comes through the crowd with a Canadian flag draped on his shoulders. Shoulders, basically. Chad Gable's in the ring, coming to the ring, but he runs into Bronson Reed. Reed basically saying he's going to face the winner here. This leads to our main event, which was a great main event between these two. Get to the end here. They trade standing swishes. Zayn takes him down. Gable charge to the corner, but get covered for Exploder. Only to have a haluva kick counter to an ankle lock. Then Zayn tried to reverse that to a sharpshooter, but the ankle gives out, so he put the ankle lock on again. Only to have Zayn roll out. And he does the haluva kick. He gets the win at 17 minutes. End of this match, Sami Zayn basically goes to his wife. You know, his wife Khadijah was in the crowd. Mm-hmm. Again, Chad Gable basically runs up behind him, suplexes him, and then proceeds to beat the holy fuck out of Sami Zayn. Including this one spot where he got his ankle like inside the... Okay, so he's doing an ankle lock, but his leg like inside like the turnbuckle basically, and he's doing an ankle lock like that basically. Mm-hmm. And that's the end of Raw. So
they finally turned
Gable. Finally turned him heel. I like the way they did it. He basically just beat the shit out of Sami Zayn, unfortunately, in his home country. They said they was chanting like expletives at Chad Gable.
But it was like in French.
Yeah, but Chad Gable was saying like, fuck you too then. Like that's what he was saying. Like, so that essentially basically was that. Then we get NXT. Great NXT. Main event here is going to be the rematch between Trick and Carmelo Hayes. It's going to be in a cage match, though. The winner of this match gets dragged off. First, we get Noam Dar versus Dijak. Dijak, who essentially is going to be basically getting bought back up. He had his final match in NXT. Mm-hmm. It's kind of coming around. Unfortunately, he goes the NXT route when he was the name. He basically loses his final match and puts over his opponent. Unfortunately, why it had to be Noam Dar. Shouldn't have been that guy. But Feast of Eyes, Metaphor offers a distraction. Then he basically loses to the Nova Roller. Next, Dragunov asks Ava, can he pick his opponent tonight for an open challenge? Taylor Pasley gets some words in. She said she wanted to be good, but nobody wanted to play for a girl like that. Everybody wanted to be like, She wanted to be like everybody else, and Lyra Valkyria let her in. Then she lost the women's title, which mattered to Patsy the most. So now she's nothing without the title. She's standing in her way. So basically, she saying that like she did all this was just to get close to her to try to get a title shot. And once she lost the title, Roxanne Perez, I have no use for you. So Ruco versus Lola Vice. Well, when I say these words, that means she lost. We got no Soul Snatcher. Vice gets the win here with a spinning kick to the face. This just leads to the Davenport feud, which need to wrap up already. Natalya said she's going to challenge Vice to NXT Underground in 2 weeks. I think they plan because Lola Vice was an MMA fighter, basically.
So they're bringing that bullshit back.
That'd be a one-time thing.
You better hope it's a one-time.
I hope. Ariana Grace took Gigi Dolan dress shopping. Still playing to this new image that she got to do. Joaquin Wilde versus Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland gets the win here at 3 minutes. Enough said about that match. Josh Briggs said he's ready to face Obafemi, even though he has the bad ribs. Ivar said rest up. And then as soon as I beat him, I'll let you get first shot. He said that's not going to happen, so they're going to fight tonight. We get a segment with Andre Chase. He basically explained everything to Thea Hale. We get a D'Angelo family out here. Basically, this leads to a back and forth with no quarter catch crew. Dragunov gets his opponent. His mystery opponent is, well, his mystery opponent comes to him. It's Javon Evans to get inside the ring. So this 19-year-old kid is getting a match against the NXT champion. They tried to do the John Cena Kurt Angle thing, what's the name thing, like the new guy basically challenged the Wily vet. It was a good thing for Evans. For somebody that's 19, it's early for him, but you see a lot in the kid though. Like he can be a player. He need a couple years though, Carmen Petrovic has said she ready to help Natalya train the NXT Underground because she also was a former MMA fighter. We get a no DQ match announced between Sol Ruco and Blair Davenport. Thea Hale versus Tatum Paxley. Paxley gets the win here. Roxanne Perez basically said she's going to defend her title at Spring Break-In. It's going to be a triple threat between her and Paxley. AOP beats Idris and North and Malik Blake in 3 minutes. Briggs defeats Ivar in 4 minutes and 11 seconds, which is a good match, enough time for two big guys like them. Main event is Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes. This is one of those cage matches. You don't escape by the cage. You gotta win by pinfall or submission. I'm gonna get to the end here. Williams hits the rock bottom for a fall, knee to the face. They go up. Hayes tries a super bulldog, but Williams blocks it. Security come in to distract Williams, who Williams basically beats the shit out of them. Hayes tried to grab a chair, but the trick shot sends the chair to his face. Williams gets the pin at 12 minutes. End of the match. He's on top of the cage. Him and Dragunov basically staring at each other, having words. And it's funny because like they playing this theme song and Dragunov just not. What's the way everybody not to Trick's theme song, bro? Dragunov looking like, okay, and he just what's the name and Trick just getting to the crowd. So that's NXT. So they kind of sugarcoated, but with Dragunov probably going to main roster, Dragunov possibly might lose that to Trick Williams. Mm-hmm. They said Trick's not going up the main roster no time soon. They got a lot for him to do on NXT. So.
All right, so let's finish up here. We both got 2 shows left. It is 6:33. Just a heads up for you. Getting into Dynamite, made up for last week. Way better show this week. Now we got away from that CM Punk drag down of shit. Adam Copeland comes out in Willow Nightingale versus the House of Black. They jump Willow Nightingale in the back. So it's basically Copeland taking on Brody the whole match. Eventually, she makes her way out by the end of the match. And she starts getting a bunch of moves in on Brody while he's the legal man. She gets in the cannonball on him in the corner, hits him with a splash off the top rope. She's walking around the ring doing the bark like, ho, ho, ho. Eventually, though, what happens is Adam Copeland ends up taking him out on the outside, and then she gets the Heartless put on her. Oh. But it's after she's already gotten knocked out. So, like, he's distracted with him on the outside and doesn't realize she's in there getting tapped. Well, not tapping at all. So it's like submission without, your arm doesn't raise back up when you drop it. You know what I'm saying?
Because she was still beat up from getting attacked earlier, baby.
Yep. Yeah, 8:49 this match goes. House of Black wins. Post-match, Mercedes Monet comes down and runs off Hart with the chair. Seems like she might hit Nightingale with it while she's down before that tension is broken up by Copeland coming in the ring and shaking her hand for running off Hart and kind of breaking up the tension there. You know what I'm saying? Type of deal. Samoa Joe has a one-on-one with Renee in the interview, basically talking about how Swerve's failed at every chance he's had the titles, and this is going to be no different. Said he had to disaffect the title after Prince Nana touched it last week. And said he's going to continue cementing his legacy as the greatest AEW World Champion ever. Bucks have a package bump that started talking about FTR in the middle of the package. They literally just had Tony, like, they pulled it off. And they were standing next to Tony in the back and Gorilla. And they're talking about how we'll show you how it's done as they start coming out to their...
I'm telling him, like, I'm the fucking owner of this company.
And then Tony was just there like, yeah, let's go.
They're going like... And we can kick your fucking ass too. You're like, it's two of y'all wanted me. Okay, change the footage.
Next up was the Bucks and Okada versus Daniel Garcia, Pac, and Penta El Zero Miedo. Pretty good match. Went 12 minutes and 18 seconds. Daniel Garcia takes the Rainmaker, so at least he's rubbing elbows.
Rainmaker!
I
will say this.
Yeah, at least he's rubbing elbows with the top guys.
I love this new Okada.
Yeah.
I love it, bro. I just like that I get Rainmaker. Like, I'm getting it every match now. Ditch that money clip shit. Give me Rainmakers. That's all I want is Rainmakers.
Pat comes in and makes a save with the ring bell hammer when the bad guys try to get a ladder and start stunning. After the match, next, Chris Jericho and Hook have a chat with Taz moderating. Jericho thanks Taz for hooking him up with the meeting before saying Hook wasn't listening to him as much as he should have in last week's match. Some people think it was that he's great, and the truth is Jericho is the learning tree. Anyone who comes to Jericho Vortex comes out better.
That's gonna be his new catchphrase now, the Jericho Vortex.
I'm not exactly sure.
I don't know. Yeah, so maybe the Ocho was that one of them.
Hook said he doesn't need Jericho's help and tells him not to be stupid. Taz tries to cut Jericho off. Eventually, Jericho attacks Taz and takes out his bad knee, which pisses off Hook. So now him and Hook are going to have a match soon. We all knew this is where this is leading. Next up is a sit-down interview process for Swerve Strickland, who doesn't agree with Samoa Joe talking about calling him a choke artist. He said he has stumbled before, which is true because he was a tag team champion in AEW before, so he hasn't stumbled at every occasion.
Yeah, I'm about to say, yeah.
And you hear about some of the horrible things that he's done over the last year to get to where he's at. And he says no matter what, though, he's still here. Joe can call him whatever he wants, but at Dynasty, Joe's going to have to call him champion. Next up, Mariah May taking on Donna Purrazzo. As much as she did attempt to break her arm, she said she would going into this match. She ends up winning with a roll-up. Oh. But it went 8 minutes and 2 seconds. Toni Storm was on the outside of the ring the whole time. Purrazzo won.
Oh, so Mariah May gets her first loss.
Yep, Purrazzo won. Keeping
9 o'clock hour?
Keeping Purrazzo's song, basically. Huh. Post-match beatdowns on until Thunder Rosa comes down to make the save for Purrazzo. Bullet Club Gold conscious to claim Billy Gunn the winner take all match at Dynasty. Shane Taylor versus...
Great promo by them, bro.
It was a good promo by them.
Anthony Bowens, bro, just like killing it with the promos, bro.
The Acclaim, they got a promo next to the Acclaim did.
My fault. I jumped the gun. My fault.
You're good. Shane Taylor Promotions had 8-minute match with Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy wins with an orange punch. Roger Strong versus Kyle O'Reilly promo video. Then we get your main event. Will Ospreay taking on Claudio Castagnoli. Coming out of this match, he said that Claudio was the strongest man he's ever faced inside of the ring. Getting towards the end of the match, Ospreay springboards into a burning hammer for another near fall. Ospreay switches to a Spanish fly for two of his own. Castagnoli grabs him into the swing, but Ospreay rolls his way up for a DDT. That was a pretty sweet spot to get out of the swing. I think I ever somebody get out of the swing. Spinal Tap gives Ospreay 2 more counts and hits the hidden blade to finish him off. 14 minutes and 23 seconds. Post-match, Don Callis comes down for the beatdown. Moxley comes in to help make the save. He and Powerhouse Hobbs go brawling to the outside post-match. Swerve Strickland comes down for a chat
Since
in
I'm
ring.
doing the dance.
Yeah.
Oh, that shit was so funny.
People ask him why he thinks he's gonna beat Samoa Joe. Last week, Joe showed him everything he needs to see. Now Swerve is out here waiting for Joe to come out here and hear it face to face. Joe comes out with security. Swerve comes off the top and stomps on them to land in front of Joe. The brawl is on. Prince Nana offering distractions so that Swerve can hit Joe in the face. Joe catches him on top and plants him down before opposing with the belt over him to end the show.
Muscle buster his ass. Muscle buster the fuck out of Swerve Strickland.
And that was the end of Dynamite. Really good show on the
Way
bounce
better
back.
than last week.
Yeah.
I was happy when Moss came back. I just heard the dun, dun, dun. I'm like, oh, he's back. Like, where the fuck he come from? And it's funny because they was looking at like, where he at? Where he at? They just looking like, no, he ain't come through the crowd. He just come right through the ring this time. And Ospreay back to look like, like. They about to tease that. Which I like. Excuse me. SmackDown. This is for the world title shot against Cody Rhodes. We get AJ Styles versus LA Knight. Yeah.
Puma Asics. Yeah.
In this match, phenomenal forearms, but Knight catches it, slams him down. Styles head to the apron, poke to the eye, phenomenal forearm. AJ Styles gets the win at 11 minutes. Styles is... Next, we get Solo in the night suit meets Paul Heyman. He basically introduces Tama Tonga as the newest member of the Bloodline, calls him his MFT. Basically is what he calls him. Still don't know what that means, but Nick Aldis has an announcement. This basically Grayson Waller and Austin Theory about to get their new championship. The SmackDown championship look nice. Like they got that old school feeling to them. I like the SmackDown ones better than the Raw ones. Austin Theory basically he tried to shake his hand, but Austin Theory basically does the little nope. What's the name? That pisses off Nick Aldis. Aldis said, if you ever do that again, A-Town Cloud Under will no longer be champions of any way, say a form. Or a form, basically. We get a fatal 4-way match. The winner of this match gets a shot at Angel. And Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. We get the Street Profits versus New Catch Republic versus Legado del Fantasma versus AOP. Great match. We have a nice Tower of Doom spot. Bate basically got double gorilla press, assisted power bomb, the super collider which takes out AOP. Then we get the Doomsday Blockbuster, Bate snapping fingers. Berto hits a clothesline. Bate sets up the Berto clothesline. Bate sent up Angel's moonsault. Then Flora Frost splashes in for the save. Revelation give Dawkins the pin. So Street Profits are your number one contenders for Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. Next, we get Rhea Ripley. They show her vacating her title. Bayley says she's shaken up by what she saw, but she's not losing tonight. Then we basically get Paul Heyman and Solo. They looking for Kevin Owens, and he basically said, "You're not allowed to make these decisions." He said, "Are you done?" Heyman said he's one of the very best day politicers in WWE. Fans chant, "We want Roman." Solo take the mic. So they finally let Solo talk. He said, "I had to lose a brother last week to gain a new one." Out comes Tama Tonga, comes out there, who's basically beating the shit out of Kevin Owens on the ring. Owens is bloody as hell to get beat. Kevin Owens. He gonna fight back. It ain't work. You get beat down again. Paul Heyman making great facial expressions, selling the hell out of everything. Next, Nick Aldis dragged Paul Heyman to the parking lot where what happened was Tama Tonga's car, he basically rammed his car into Kevin Owens' car, essentially. And all this threatens Paul Heyman with repercussions if we don't get this under control. Santo Escobar versus Carlito. Escobar gets the win here with the Phantom Driver at 7 minutes and 37 seconds. Damn Control's in the skybox. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair pop up next to them. watch the main event. They basically laying claim saying that like we're challenging for those titles next. Basically what they were saying there. Cody Rhodes is in England on the UK tour. Praises AJ Styles. Say looking forward to their title match at Backlash. Too sweet with the what's the name. Then we get our main event, which is Bayley versus Naomi. Get to the end of this match. Top rope elbow by Bayley. Naomi grabs a slingshot X Factor. Split leg moonsault. Moonsault by Naomi on Ray's knees. Top rope elbow again by Bayley, connects for two. She tried to go for the roll plant, but Naomi pulled to the rings of Saturn. Bayley gets on top. They have a slug it out, yell at each other moment. Both crash to the floor. Naomi slams Bayley onto the announce table. Tiffany Stratton comes in and jumps Bayley for the DQ at 11 minutes and 17 seconds, which is probably going to set up a triple threat match here, which one of the best ways I guess you can book it without neither one of them looking weak. Tiffany Stratton here. Then she basically does a double prettiest moonsault ever to end the show, basically. Basically, so Tiffy time getting her Tiffy moment, which is well deserved because she has been impressive since she's been up to main roster. So I'm glad now we all know you're gonna take the pinfall in this triple threat match probably, but it's okay. It's okay, but that's the end of SmackDown.
And that also is the end of the show because we don't have Rampage this week. It was moved to Saturday, so it will be on next week's show.
I forgot about
so that means next week's show is going to have 2 Rampages on.
Ooh. You can do all the what's the name.
With that being said, I'm one half of your host. I'm Rob.
I'm Clint.
And this has been Hot Tag Wrestle Corner. Ryan Simmons, send us home, sir.
Little chip shit. Noti with the ring.